First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Tsangkhong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Dukden Darji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice today. Namo Amitabha Tathagata of the Western Pure Land of utmost bliss. And homage to Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva and Mahastama Prapta Bodhisattva. Sumo Jodan Siddhi Danzen Gatso. All Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, all disciples present here and over the internet, and our participating VIPs today are Accountant to Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa. And from Taiwan, Jia, from the Zhongzhen University, Distinguished Professor Wang and Mrs. And Datin from Malaysia, Dharma Sister Li Jin and her daughter, Dharma Sister Li Qi. And Datin from Malaysia, Dharma Sister Tze Fei. Dr. Ryan Zhong. And the PR director of the True Buddha School Taiwan Temple, Mr. Fermi Wang. And from the Seattle Tech office, the secretary, Ms. Zhuang. And Dharma brother Gao Minglu and his wife. And the law advisors to True Buddha School Malaysia, Mr. Luo and Ms. Huang. And the law advisor to True Buddha School, the attorney Jennifer Zhou. First, I would like to make an announcement. In the future, True Buddha School will arrange a worldwide group practice from Monday to Friday, every day, from September 9th, 2019. It will start this worldwide group practice from Monday to Friday, 5 times a day. For details, please check DBSN. So that's because the technology, everybody could attend the webcast group practice 5 times a day from Monday through Friday. The title is the True Buddha Tantra Brilliant Power. So this is an invention of True Buddha School for the worldwide group practice. Today, seated at this Dharma throne, I would like to first ask a question. Usually, the introduction of the disciples, they use microphone, but why not today? Is there a reason for it? The microphone disappeared. How much is it? $300 US. Then you should buy 10 of them. If it got lost, then you should buy it immediately. There's so many disciples here, but there's no microphone and everybody had to shout. That's not right. You have to react immediately when you've discovered that the microphone was missing. Yeah, you could prepare a few more so everybody has microphone with them. That's quite embarrassing. When I heard that there is no microphone, that's strange. There's one there, right? There's another one over there. Oh, the cable is not long enough. You need the wireless one, but the wireless one was stolen. No, it cannot be. How could the microphone got stolen? One microphone costs $300, so 10 of them would be $3,000. Okay, here, I give this. Let's buy 10 microphones. Please count it, how much this is. So they found the microphone after the introduction. Okay. It's so difficult to spend money. No chance. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? In Cantonese. If you lose a microphone again in the future, just let me know. Oh, you found it. Okay, that's fine. Amitabha Buddha is my yidam, my personal deity. When I just graduated from the military college, I was dispatched to the South Gate Bridge at the survey team. That's at the Southgate Bridge. From the Taichung Road, 教师会馆. After you pass the Southgate Bridge, then there's a survey team there, and I was arranged to go there. And behind it is the Poti Hospital. It's a Buddhist hospital. And inside the Buddhist hospital, the head of the hospital, called Yi-Ling Po, is not Ling Po from the Butterfly Lovers drama, but his name is similar. By the last name Yi. He is a Buddhist, so he built a memorial hall at the hospital called Tai Si. And we all know about the great master Tai Si in China, a very famous Buddhist revolutionist, and several Buddhist Mahayana Buddhist great masters like Inshin, the Venerable Inshin Dao Si, was also a follower of Tai Si, or Fa Zun, the one that specially print Buddhist sutras. The Venerable Fa Zun was also a follower of the great master Tai Si. So we had the Tai Si Memorial Hall, and there was one who gave exposition on sutras there, and his name was called Li Bingnan, the lay master. At that time, I just got awakened by the Golden Mother. I went to the Tai Si Memorial Hall to listen to the exposition of Master Li Bingnan. And he was primarily a follower of the Buddhist Pure Land sect. So the Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattvas incanting the Buddha's name, the perfect, complete sutra. He was expounding on that sutra. So I started with the Pure Land practice, and as we all know, this Amidism, or the Pure Land sect, is chanting the epithet of Amitabha Buddha. So I studied it, and I was able to chant it, sing it. And the most important key formula of the Pure Land sect is, one is your mind. And the second one is upholding or chanting the epithet of Amitabha Buddha. So the key formulas of the Pure Land sect is the mind and the chanting. So although True Buddha school is practicing Tantric Buddhism, but it also includes the Pure Land sect. When we recite Namo 136,119,500 Buddhas with the same name and advocation of Amitabha, every time we practice, we would chant it. And in our meditation, we also say, those who uphold the Buddha, Amitabha, be reborn into the realm of utmost bliss. Upon seeing the Buddha, may we transcend life and death like the Buddha, may we liberate all. This is the verse from the Pure Land school, the dedication verse. So we can say that True Buddha school utilizes Pure Land school and Tantric Buddhism methods to cultivate. So, although we do the practice of Tantrayana, the merit dedication is Pure Land. So we can say that we combine both Pure Land and Tantrayana or Tantric practices together. So in the past, I followed the lay master Li Bingnan, and I chanted Amitabha Buddha, the 4-syllable one. And then it continues, it cycles through. Those are the 4-syllable versions. And then we also have this one. So we also chant Amitabha's Buddha, like at the end of the group practice, led by several venerables. We also chant Amitabha Buddha. That does not exist in Tantrayana. They only chant mantra. Tantric practices usually just chant mantra. So in Tantrayana, they only chant mantra. They don't incarnate Buddha's epithet, but we do both. That is what is unique about True Buddha school. So with Tantrayana and Pure Land, it's like the Zen master Lu-Ling. So he said that there's Zen and Pure Land. It's like tigers with horns, so that means it's even more powerful. So because Grandmaster in the beginning learned Pure Land, so I brought it into Tribhuda school. And then later on, Grandmaster studied Tantrayana. Actually, Grandmaster also studied Zen Buddhism. And I have written over 10 books by rereading the 5 flames of the Zen meetings. What is the Zen koans? What is Zen? Yes, Zen is hungry, and koan is hungry. It's play of words of Chinese words. So that means when you're starving, you want to eat. When people ask me, what is a Zen koan? Actually, that's not the case. There is a statement in the Heart Sutra that said it very clearly. By not having anything to gain, that's bodhisattva. Why? When you're enlightened, there's nothing to gain. You are bodhisattva. Why? Please ponder on this statement inside the Heart Sutra. This is the most important. What have you gained in this world? There's really nothing to gain. You know, the great Alexander built the great Alexandria empire. And at the end, he showed people his 2 empty hands. Nothing. He had nothing. And today, where did this great empire of Alexandria? It's gone. That's just a history. A country can become a history. And each person too can become a history. What have you gained? Money? And we have said it. Your money is in the bank, yourself is in heavens, and your wife is at somebody else's embrace, and your brothers are fighting for your inheritance. And you got power and position. Like Korean presidents are the most pitiful. They're the highest in the country, the highest leader in the country. And some Korean presidents have killed themselves, or they were imprisoned. And the most recent elected president would be in prison for life. So even when you have that position, it's gone. What have you gained? Power, authority, money, or beauty? Like what Grandmaster said, beautiful ladies, you think that you have got them, You know, the beautiful ladies that I know before now have turned to be very ugly. It's better not to see each other again. When I was at the Taiwan Lijiang Temple, I asked my girlfriend at the elementary school called Gao Chunxin, which was a classmate of my sister, to come meet me. But she said that no, it'll be too embarrassing. Why? Because her behind is even bigger than Master Huijin's. Oh my God. You know, the waist like the mantra barrel is still better. That's like a water barrel. So it's better not to meet again. Just keep the good memory. So have you gotten the beautiful? Like Simu, she has a kind heart. So her beauty is in her heart. Doesn't matter how she looks now. She makes people feel that her heart is the most beautiful. So the superficial beauty is useless, especially for the ladies as they live their lives after middle age in a flash. They were beautiful and quickly they changed. You know, the Secretary Zhuang from the tackle office in Seattle. Your name is Zhuang Zhujun? Yes. The Secretary Zhuang. When I came here, I already recognized her, and she hasn't changed up to today. She looked like this 30 years ago. Ah, that was a mistake. "30 years ago, she was young and beautiful, and 30 years later, she's still young and beautiful." Some are very special. When I was young, I had hair, and when I flipped my hair, wow, it was quite enticing. So therefore, you need to be enlightened that there is nothing to gain, then you can cut off all afflictions, because that's the case, nothing to get, nothing to get. A human being has afflictions because they don't get what they want. They don't get what they expect. But if you have gained this point, then you will not be afflicted. Because when you interact with other people, then you would be like a bodhisattva. That's what's mentioned in the Heart Sutra. Because you comprehend that there's nothing to get, then you have no more afflictions. Then when you have no more afflictions, you would be like a sage. Then whatever you do, then you can face it with an ordinary mind. And then what you gain is all good karma, no bad karma. Then naturally you would be a bodhisattva. So that's the formula. That's very important. If you want to go to the Western paradise or the Western Pure Land, not only that you should be mindful toward the Buddha, you also have to be single-minded. And what is this single-mindedness? Is that you can be in samadhi. You have no running thoughts. And why don't you have these running thoughts? Because you have comprehended that there's nothing to gain, so you have no other thoughts appearing. Then you become a bodhisattva, and the Pure Land Trinity can come and guide you. This is very important. That human beings always have afflictions. Let me share you a joke. Someone went to see a psychiatrist, and the patient asked, "Doctor, what can I do? I don't like women." And the patient is man. "I just love to have romances with dogs. What should I do?" And the psychiatrist asked that, "Okay, I know. But do you like the male dogs or the female dogs?" And the patient replied, "Crazy. You think I'm a pervert? Of course it's the female dogs." That's a kind of affliction. That's an affliction. Why? A perversion like this appear because you have that improper thought. You know, romantic love is also a kind of affliction. But I heard that song that my happiness is longing for you. This song is very good. It's good, but you need to that when you think of him or her, it's a kind of happiness, not suffering or a pain. So that's still good. So there's still some sadness. The weather turned cold. In Seattle, the weather turns cold really fast. I was going to buy a down coat, but it costs over $5,000. It should be NT dollars. Considering the cold medicine only costs $100, so that would be more economical. So that's a joke, right? If you calculate like that, when you want to spend money, then there would be a kind of affliction. So the affliction of having money is still better than the affliction of not having money. So here I would like to wish each one of you to have ample resources, to have all your needs fulfilled. When I come to America, I heard the first, second, and third brothers told me that the first thing that you need most coming to America is your residency or citizenship. You need to have either one of status, and once you have it, then you start to have problems, is that you have to pay taxes. You know, it is quite troublesome to be a human being. If you go to the Western Pure Land, then there's no IRS asking for taxes for you. But you still need a status. You need to have the merits of your spiritual cultivation in order to go to the Western Pure Land. Is that you have good karma, that you have done a lot of merits. Then you would encounter a good guru to teach you. Once you have a good guru who teaches you good methods and key formulas, then you can be single-minded and mindfulness and relying on the Buddha. Then you can go to the Buddha land, the Western Pure Land. Then once you get to the Western Pure Land, then you have the status there. It's not the Western countries, but it's similar. America is in the West. There was an old lady that told me that America is the Western paradise or Western Pure Land, but that's big difference. And she said, yes, America is the Western paradise because the dogs there live better than the human beings. There was an old lady called the Bankekso. And cultivating spiritually, we can go to the West. And where is the West? America. And she did not come here, but I do. So in order to go to the Western paradise, we have to prepare, we have to have enough resources, the power of meditation and a reliance on Amitabha Buddha and single-mindedness. So that's what I was talking about, Amitabha Tathagata. And then I would talk about Lamdre. And what is Lamdre? The path and its fruit. And what does it mean? Is practicing the path until you attain the fruition. And in Tantrayana, Lamdre is being used by the Sakya sect. That's the highest dharma in the Sakya sect. Because Master Sakya Zhengkong, the Zhong Rinpoche, gave instructions so I could understand some about Lamdre. Here it talked about 4 pramana and divided into the broad and the quintessence. And broad means you know everything. And the quintessence means the essence. I often use this analogy. The broad one is the Maha Prajnaparamita Sutra. It's a huge amount of it. And the quintessence is the Heart Sutra. Only a few hundred words. And the Maha Prajnaparamita Sutra is the broad one. That's the difference. The pramana is the measurement of proofs and means of knowledge. So that's the determinable, which is divided into appearance of nature, kinds of measurement, and then the determined measurements, clear exposition of the cause of the fruit continuum, supplementary commentary on determining causal continuum and the methods continuum, and the method for determining the measurement, the cause of the 6 paths, fruit of the 6 paths, and then the path and the fruit, Dhammakaya and physical body, and quintessential pramana, the same. Through personal spiritual experiences, the Guru's pith instruction, the past records or history, and testimonies of the past patriarchs, to generate the supreme fixed realization in order to practice on the path is the intent of this instruction of the 4 pramana. As stated in the verse, to determine the fruit based on the 4 pramana. It is divided into 3 kinds: the determinable the determined pramana, and the methods to determine the pramana. And there are explanation to each. In the determinable pramana, divided into 2, the appearance of its nature, which is the self-arising fixed realization that is supreme, cannot be taken away by any other faiths. So this talks about 4 kinds of pramanas. Let me explain it briefly. So, measurement from the testimony of the past sages, records and history, Guru's pith instruction, and personal experience. So the Tathagata is the testimony of the past sages. The sutras are the words of the past sages. The Dharma teaching of Sakyamuni Buddha for a long time, for 49 years, and all of his Dharma teaching was collected into 3 Pitaka, the 3 baskets. That's the sutras. And then the Vinaya, or all the precepts as spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha. And then the Abhidharma, or the treatises, which is the commentaries or the testimonies of all the gurus, and the exposition. So everything inside the Tripitaka is called the testimonies of the past sages, and it does have power, because this power can let you become Buddha, Bodhisattva, Arhats, or Prateka Buddhas, or Shravakas, or to go to the Pure Land. So that's why it has a certain power. And the second is the real life commentary based on the past records and histories. Like the ancient people, those all have proofs that can make you have attainments. So we can say that many of the discourses so the gurus with virtues and gratitudes, words can generate power to let you have attainments, or to attain Buddhahood, Bodhisattvahood, Arhatship, and Shravakahood, or to go to the 4 sagely realms. And then is the Guru's 5th instruction. So the teachings of the Vajra Acharya based on the 5th instructions of the past records and his own personal spiritual experiences. So that's the pramana based on the Guru's 5th instruction. And this is not just an ordinary Guru, but a Guru with a real attainments, real proofs of attainments. Only a Guru with a real attainments can teach the 5th instructions that give you power to have attainments, and that's called the pramana based on the Guru's instruction. And of all the other pramana, this is the most supreme, and one should definitely follow this pramana. So of the 4 pramanas, this pramana of the Guru's 5th instruction is the most supreme. Why? Because the pramana of the past sages are the sutras. If you don't read them, they're useless. If you don't get the key formulas, they are also useless. And the pramana of the past records and history also useless, like the discourses and the treatises of the past gurus. If you don't read them, they're also useless. You don't get the 5th instructions and key formulas. But if there's a lineage root guru who teaches you the basic, the fundamental key formulas, like what I just said, that in the Pure Land sect, the most important ones is the mindfulness of Amitabha Buddha and single-mindedly chanting Amitabha Buddha's appetite until you're single-minded and enter into samadhi, then you can go to the Amitabha's Pure Land. So this is called the key formula. This is the key formula. Be mindful of Amitabha Buddha and you chant his appetite. And you're single-minded or full concentration. And what is important about single-mindedness is that you have no worries and no afflictions inside your mind. At the moment of death, is that you're mindful of your yidam, Amitabha Buddha. And you chant his appetite, Buddha's name. Single-mindedness. If you worry that I'm dying, but nobody knows where I hide my gold, I should have told my children or grandchildren. Then I should enter into their dreams. If you're still thinking about this at the moment of death, how could you go to the Western Pure Land? Because at that moment you should not think of anything. Your children, your wealth, your power, you're the president or whatever leaders you are, you should not think of that. Or the person that you love most, you should think of them. Or someone that you hate most, that you should, those are all wrong. The only thing you should think of is Amitabha Buddha, and you should chant Amitabha's name. And you're in full concentration and you discard all afflictions, all worries. If your lineage root guru teaches you this kind of key formula, then you can go to the Western Pure Land. If you cannot do so, if you still love someone and you think of her, then you're dead. Or you still hate someone, that's it. Then you're doomed. So at that moment, the only reliance and mindfulness is this single-mindedness, enter into samadhi. Then you're guaranteed to go to the Pure Land. This is the key formula. So this is called the pramana, based on the Guru's path instruction. And last one is pramana due to the personal spiritual experiences. This is the pramana of the yogi that occurs naturally based on his own spiritual experiences and the ability to select any of the above pramanas. This is the basis of all pramanas. The other three pramanas come from this, and they arise due to the gathering at the start of affinity of this pramana. So the pramana of the words of the past sages, the pramanas of the past records and histories, and the pramana of the Guru's path instruction. And then you cultivate spiritually, diligently, and then you gain personal experiences. And that would be the pramana of your own personal experiences. So every night I have to be in union with my yidam, and that's the pramana of the personal spiritual experiences. Then I know myself if the yidam has entered into my body, and immediately I enter into samadhi, and I experience my spiritual experiences of samadhi and union with the yidam. Every night before bed I would do this. The union of the yidam with myself and my body could immediately feel the experience of being union with the yidam. And then I would generate the power of being in union with the yidam. And that is called the pramana, due to the personal spiritual experiences. Now you're clear about this, right? At that time, you would have a dharma power. Then you can tell your yidam, and your yidam would make it happen for you, or you yourself can make it happen. Like you can enter into the dreams of all disciples. That's also a kind of power being generated. Please raise your hand if you have dreamt of Grandmaster. Many people have dreamt of Grandmaster, almost everybody. There's one person, who never dreamt of Grandmaster before, and I told him that I will let you dream of me. And 1 week later, he or she came back and said, no, hasn't. And then I said, okay, I'll use a different method. And then he or she still said, no, still no dream. And then on the 3rd week, when he or she said that she still hasn't dreamt of Grandmaster, I bless a glass of water and give it to him or her, and still she did not dream of me. So, oh my God, how could you be so far from Grandmaster? And then I use a very special method, which I cannot tell you. And recently, she told me that she's dreamt of me. For 1 month, she said she never dreamt of Grandmaster, and I said, okay, I'll let you dream. I've used the first 3 methods and it didn't work, and then when I used the 4th method, it worked. There was a disciple from Canada. The wife, in order to lose weight, place a poster of a beautiful young lady with great figure to remind her not to open the fridge and get some food. And in bikini. So every time she sees that, it reminded her not to eat. However, her husband gained 7 kilos. Because after seeing that poster, the husband kept going to the fridge. So the thought that's being generated. Actually, in Buddha Dharma, sometimes, often, we use our mind. We use our mind to practice. In Taiwanese, we say it's like a banquet, that you have 3 great banquets in a human life, 3 banquets. The first one is when you were born. Then your parents would create a banquet, like when you were born or your first month. And the second time is on your wedding day. You would have a banquet and invite everybody. And the third one is when you pass away. To have your relatives and friends who came and sent you off. But the first table, the first banquet, you couldn't eat it because you're just 1 month old. How could you eat it? How could you eat anything, right? The second one, you have no time to eat because the groom and the bride to ask you to speak. Everybody else could eat, but you have to stand there and you were so busy. And the bride, not wanting to disturb her lipstick, could not eat much at all. You were too busy. And for the third time, that you're just watching other people eat because you're gone already. So 3 big banquets in a human life. Asking your friends and relatives and workers, but you cannot eat any of them. So in our Buddhist studies, it's not just empty talk. You have to put it into real practice. You have to cultivate. Then you would experience that personal experiences. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.